What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Alex G.
Am my toes showing? No.
I'm alongside Mal, and this is the A Couple of Things podcast where we're here to talk about a couple of things. What do we got?
And we messed up our schedule, but we're going to get back to normal like after this episode. So Saturday, we're going to film again, and we'll be back on Mondays at 8 a.m., right? That's what our thing was, Mondays at 8.
Okay, what do we got?
But Monday at 8 a.m., we'll be in Paris.
What do we got?
Waiting to
What do we
go
got?
Waiting to go to
What do we
Dubai.
got?
I'm just saying.
This is like the fourth time that you mentioned this.
I know, because I'm excited. This is like my farthest trip. And this is your farthest trip. Like, really far. That's why I look like this, because I just took passport pictures, because my picture's about to be fire. Because I had to get a new passport, because they spelled my name wrong. And I had it for 8 years, misspelled, but nobody caught it except 2 people. But anyway, so for today's pod, we have 4 topics. I mean, we could.
This is not a parent-teacher meeting. You know, we're not in the U.S. Senate.
Oh, you know what I want to bring up too before we get into our topics? So I was searching up our podcast because I just like searching it sometimes. And like I was searching it because I was looking for something too. And another podcast popped up, and their name is theirs a couple of things also, right? Is it the same exact name? Or is
No.
theirs a couple of things? No, theirs is a couple of things too, I think. Yeah, there's a couple of things. So, you know, just for people who are subscribed to us, try to just, you know, push us. They came from a YouTube channel, apparently, like their couple channel. Because I was being nosy. Let me go watch theirs for the first few minutes. Cause I wanted to see what they were. I wanted to see if they were like a couple of things podcast where we talk about a couple of things. I wanted to see like if they gave backstory to their name. Cause then I would have been like, because, you know, like people always feel like, you know, when you have a small channel, oh, you sound crazy if you say someone took your idea or something. It's like, you sound crazy because it's like, who are you? But, you know, it's not far-fetched that they could have looked up couple podcasts and saw ours and maybe got an idea. I mean, we don't get a lot of views. I'm not going to make that accusation because there's also there's like 2 other podcasts that are called like Couple Things or a Couple of Things. So, you know, it's not like we came up with that. Like, I mean, we did come up with that on our own. I didn't even know those other podcasts existed. But, you know, it's billions of people in this world. People have similar thoughts. So sometimes great minds just think alike. So I'm not going to point no fingers. But yeah, I was just being nosy and trying to see where their name idea came from. But they just said, it was so weird, like hearing them say, "Welcome to a Couple of Things podcast." I kind of got like itchy. I was like, no, that's our name. But yeah, they're already a famous couple. I didn't even see what their regular page had or how many subscribers, but you know, clearly they got like 70,000 subscribers, I think, already on their channel, or 7,000, something like that. And they're getting decent views already because they're known. So it sucks because, you know, like that's kind of like competition now because the name, and it's like, damn, like I hate when that happens. But it is what it is. We're gonna keep going, keep pushing. So anybody who's a loyal subscriber, just keep pushing, right? Pushing for us. Because that's one thing, we're consistent. Like, we've been really consistent for over a year now, so we shall see what happens. But you have any thoughts on that?
No.
Do you think it's annoying? Like,
No.
not really annoying, like, but do you think it's like, damn, like,
No.
that was our name? Like, no one else had that name. Like, I saw a couple things, but I didn't see a couple of things. Whatever. You don't care?
No, I don't. I said that before when you mentioned that.
No, but didn't you kind of were like, oh, like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, you kind of had like a, wow, that's crazy reaction. Like, it's not like you cared, but you're just like, oh, wow. Like, of course. It's a couple.
No, not shocked at all. You know, I mean, there's like millions of podcasts. There's so many.
Yeah, but you're not shocked about that name? Like, that's such like a random.
No, because when we did this name, the first thing that popped up was the other channel.
Yeah, but theirs was Couple Things, which is okay.
Yeah, and all we did was put more sauce on it by saying a couple of things.
No, but that's like different. Like ours is saying, you know, we have a couple things we're gonna talk about with you guys. Theirs is like couple things. Like, you know, it's like
No.
that's like a saying, like couple things, friend things. Like, you know, that's just like a saying. Like, so I don't know. I mean, theirs is still similar, but ours is literally a couple of things.
No, I don't care. It's the same way. Like there's 100 different DJs with the same name. I don't particularly.
And there's
care.
a whole bunch of rappers with the little. But no, I'm just saying, cause like I thought like it was like, oh, this is like a unique name, and it's like, dang. but because it's so similar, like that's the only thing. But it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, let's get into our topics. I guess we could start since we're watching tennis right now in the U.S. Open. U.S. Open is coming to a close. Mom is going Saturday, but she was upset because she really wanted to see Serena, and we watched live her lose the third round, and she says she's done. Do you think she's done?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, everything has to come to an end. Like that's just life, and it's like I feel like we're blessed enough that we were able to live to see a lot of her career. Obviously, we weren't adults as long to see a lot of things, but and we just started to get to a place in life where we got money. So it's like, dang, it would have been nice to see her in person. Like at least once. It would have been cool before she retired. And it's like, dang, like we just got to do. Same thing with like when Eli retired. I'm like, dang,
Eli who?
Annie. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? He retired. Well, why are you trying to gaslight me? Didn't he retire?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, years ago. So why did you say Eli who?
Because who wants to go see Eli Manning?
Because I was a Giants fan. Like I grew up watching him be their quarterback. So it was like, I wanted to see him in person. It's like, Eli used to make me mad, obviously. But the way he used to be fumbling all the time, like he used to just look stupid. Like his mouth would be open. Like I swore he was on the spectrum because he was just him and his brother was little.
Relax.
Oh, that's insulting?
Extremely.
No, people say that as like a joke. But, sorry, I have dark humor.
I don't. It's not me.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes he just looked a little like slow while he was playing. Like he would get fumbled and his mouth would just be open. He'd be looking around like he's confused. I'm like, nigga, what are you looking at? Like you fumbled the ball. Like why you look like you looking for something? But still, like I would have loved to see him play in person. Like it's Eli Manning, and it's like, dang, like all these people retiring, all these like legends retiring, when I'm just getting money to go to games and matches and stuff like this. Like. So that's kind of like I would have loved to go to this U.S. Open, but just with us going to Dubai and like it's just not a good time. I don't know how my mom's doing it, but she got money, so but so yeah, you think? Obviously, all good things come to an end. You think sometimes it's better just to retire. Like you're tired, She's been playing since what, the 90s.
Mhm.
How old is she? She's in her 40s already, right?
I don't know. I would assume so. She
Hey,
actually
Siri.
nah.
Hey Siri.
I don't think she is.
How old is Serena Williams? 40.
Just turned 40.
So she must turn 40 this year. So when we were born, how old was she? 15? It was 40 minus 25. 15? Yeah. So she was playing like the late 90s. I want to watch the King Richard documentary now, or the movie, the reenactment. But yeah, with these sports too, like your prime is your 20s. You would admit, right? For a lot of these sports, your prime is probably your 20s, 30s. Once you get to that mid to late 30s, 40 territory, it's like, it is time to let go. Like with Tom Brady, right? It's like, didn't he say he retired this year again? But then he's going to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's addicted to the game. I get it. That's your love. That's your sport. And it's like, do you really want to say goodbye? Like, it's probably hard. Like, especially when that's your passion and like you work so hard. But it's like you have nothing else to prove. You did what you had to do, and all good things come to an end. So, it's bittersweet. Like, I'm happy for her, and I think this is it's cool to focus on her family. Maybe have another kid. But yeah. It was so crazy. We just decided to turn it on. I was like, we got to literally witness that. Like, we were watching it, and I'm like sitting here like, wow, this is actually like her last game. Like, we were hoping she was gonna win, right? So we thought that we was gonna see more of her. But the fact that we were able to catch that is cool because we didn't watch the game before that she played in. So it's cool that we were able to catch that game and see her speech. Yeah, my mom said she was crying during the speech. Do you get emotional about those things when people retire?
Not over Serena, but I have before.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily because you're sad or like happy for them, but it's just like, in general, like just that's just like the world of sports, Like, you hate to see people, not really hate, but it's like you feel happy for them. Like, you know how you say you like watching any sports because you just like competition, you just enjoy sports. That's why I was like getting like, and I wasn't really getting emotion, but it's kind of like I get like choked up sometimes for stuff like that because it's like, you know, you imagine them as a kid, this was their dream, and they succeeded, and now they're retiring, and like you just know how that must feel for her in that moment to like look around, right, and be like, wow, like this is it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for her. Is Venus retired?
No.
She's not. Isn't she older?
Mm-hmm.
How old is she? Is she like much older? Not really, right?
Mm-mm.
What would you think? 42.
We have Google.
Why are you being rude today?
I'm not.
No, you have an attitude. If anybody comments on this, let me know if he has attitude. Cause you giving me weird vibes.
Oh.
You just seem like you have attitude. Hey Siri, how old is Venus Williams? 42. Look at me, smart. I just know these things for some reason. I swear I never even looked up either of their ages before. But yeah, you don't have anything else to say about Serena retiring and her last game that we watched?
No. She probably should just retired earlier, but yeah, nothing.
Do you know what her last title was? And don't tell me to ask Google.
Gotta ask Google.
You think Siri would understand me? Hey Siri, when was Serena's last title? That didn't
Gotta use the proper terminology.
2019. Oh, she won the U.S. Open. Wait, oh no, she didn't. She was a runner-up. Dang. 2019, she was a runner-up also in Wimbledon. 2018, she was a runner-up against Naomi. That's when Naomi beat her. Osaka. Dang, so she made it far. So this year, she kind of got out early. Her last win was the 2017 Australian Open. Remember you asking for the 4? The other one's French. The French Open, Australian Open, Wimbledon, and U.S. Open. So her last win was 2017, but then her last runner-up, which she was second place, was 2019. So that's why maybe like 2017 would have been a good time, right? To retire 2018, like your mid-30s, you know? Okay, then you got back-to-back blown out in 2018, 2019 is like, and then COVID happened, you know? It's just kind of been like, maybe wrap it up. And maybe, you know, COVID happened, she was like, you know what? Like, I want one more try at this, 2021, 2022, you know? But then you see it was just like a faltering downhill slope, and it's like your body's telling you it's time to let it go. So yeah, who do you think the next legend is gonna be? Like, do you think anybody has potential? Like Coco Gauff, or Naomi? I mean, Naomi, I feel like it's kind of dwindling for some reason.
You trying to do the black thing or just in general?
You can do it in general and then a black thing. I mean, Naomi is she black? She's half black, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Coco is black. So we're going to go with black. So it's really just Coco, right? Could potentially be like the next big thing. I hate the term the next Serena because I hate when people say that. Like, no, the next big thing. Like, there's not going to be no next Serena. There's not going to be no next Kobe. There's not going to be no next Kanye. Like, I hate when people do that. Like, who's going to be the next Coco? Like Coco, you know, Coco's going to be the next Coco. So, like, we don't really watch tennis enough, though, right? To be able to, do you watch tennis?
I don't watch tennis live. I watch tennis at during my lunch breaks. Just highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even like that question because that's too difficult of a question to even answer.
Yeah.
Especially when and the thing is, there's people like there's the people that are marketable and then there's the people that are not. And it's really easy and marketable to put a black person in a tennis and then have them just wear a bunch of Nike and then that's like the endorsement thing. But that doesn't mean that they're the best tennis player. Like there's tennis players that are way better.
Yeah. Who just don't really.
Who just aren't marketable or aren't from the U.S. or don't speak English as clearly, so they don't.
Shy, you know.
So for me to answer that, I don't know. But tennis will definitely be different. I think it's there's a new class coming in, and I think tennis will be interesting because I think the styles will be different. I think the youth is going to take a different approach to tennis.
Like they're gonna do like more like different moves, different.
I think there's more energy in tennis with the younger people. Obviously, I think that they're more likely to really sacrifice their bodies versus someone that's older. So they'll go all out. I think that there's also a ton more technology, so taking
like
care of
training and
taking
care
care
of
of
your
themselves.
body. Like even massage gun, like that's something that didn't exist 20 years ago when Serena was the same age as some of these girls. Something as little as that could be a game changer. Like as far as recovery, there's a lot more potential. Like I think we talked about this before with basketball. There's just only gonna be like I feel like a exponential like growth with like skills. Like humans just evolve, there's always gonna be new skills, better players as time goes on. So yeah, it is. That's why I hate like sometimes these questions are kind of weird to answer because it's like there's so many factors that you kind of just have to let everybody have their own era. And that's why I think, like I said, like, a better question is who you think is gonna be the next big thing. Now that Serena's retired.
Depends on whatever the marketing companies want to pump.
Yeah, that's true because that's a part of it being pumped. But yeah. I think maybe Coco, if they want to keep that black thing going, it will be Coco, in my opinion.
Maybe because like the only reason why it's like everybody's looking for the Tom Brady effect. Like Tom Brady came in when the starting QB got hurt, and then Tom Brady became Tom Brady. Everybody looks to every athlete in these situations to become Tom Brady. So, like, not that Naomi isn't good, of course.
Yeah.
But the way that they pump her,
I think they put too much pressure on her, right?
Is like you would have swore she won 100 majors already.
Yeah, like the way she was like literally lighting the flame at the Olympics, right? Like they put a lot on her. Like obviously she's good, but then I also think that pressure kind of messed her up, right? Because you see, like she's been having like a lot of mental health breaks.
Yeah.
Like clearly, the pressure is a lot, and then like she's just not doing well. It seems like I don't really keep up with tennis, but I don't think she even made it far in this. Didn't she get out like first round?
Mm-hmm.
It's like dang.
And of course, those things happen, but I just think that it's just whatever people want to promote because like
that's true.
What's marketable and what's not. Like, who does Nike want to sign? Who do they want to have in their commercials? They're not going to put somebody that's not marketable in their commercials. Like they don't put like who we got Sinner and Alcaraz playing right now.
Don't know these people.
He's 19 years old. Is number 3 in the world ranked.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has Nike stuff on. I don't know if he's sponsored by Nike or he just is wearing Nike stuff, but you've never seen him in a commercial. So it's just like, he's number 3. Think about that. Number 3 male tennis player in the world. And he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you've never heard of him. So it's just whoever people feel like promoting. So that's why whoever's the next big thing is really just whoever people want to get behind.
Because the combination of things. I feel like we had this conversation before, like a while ago, about basketball. It was the same thing. Like you said, it's kind of up to like, it's a combination thing. Like, of course, you need to have the talent, but then that's also who they want to push. And Naomi must have had this look that they liked about her,
They thought she was Tiger Woods.
Yeah, the Asian and black girl who with the poker face and
I'm only saying
dating
that
the rapper guy. Like,
obviously, like this sounds like I'm saying her career is over or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the way that
like you kind of see what happens when they do these things.
Like they
sometimes
these companies just have so much money that they just don't care anymore and they just throw money at anything. And not saying that she's just anything, but they just they ride waves. Like they don't really think. There's not like calculation. Like you don't have to really even prove anything.
Yeah.
Anymore before you start getting sent Nike promotional packages and all that kind of stuff. Like you don't have to win a lot. Like you don't have to do certain things.
Like all she had to do is win one U.S. Open, and now did she only win one? Yeah, right. Yeah, the 2018 one.
Which is a big deal, of course.
Yeah, because all the people you had to beat to get there. Like you see, we've been watching this stuff for a week now, over a week, and it's like mad people.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. So I can't
Yeah.
answer that.
So it's too early to tell. But I mean, I think I definitely do like tennis. So I think I'm definitely gonna get into it more. And maybe next year we do the U.S. Open. But we had to get our tickets in advance.
You can't.
Well, when they first release. What would you rather? Would you want to go to the final, like the last game? Yeah, right.
Not necessarily. Like I don't. All the people that I would have wanted to see are
Are
retiring.
gone.
Like Federer is gone. Serena's gone.
Yeah.
Nadal got bounced.
So low-key, the best thing to do is go day one, round one for men and women, then go to whatever stadium they're gonna play in. But you don't know what stadium they're gonna play in too, right?
No, you would know.
Oh, okay. But those are gonna be expensive.
In advance, you wouldn't necessarily know. Like at the beginning of the Open, you wouldn't necessarily know.
But as it gets closer, you would know.
But all the big games are played in Arthur Ashe. So
Yeah.
if you just want to see all the big games,
Just go. Like Serena would have been in here for round one, like for the women's round one. But those are probably expensive since they know that the finals is not really super expensive because no guarantee who's playing. If you buy in advance.
the finals is always expensive.
Oh, so how much do you think my mom paid? $500.
Where is she sitting?
Good question. I actually don't even know what stadium she's sitting in. I should ask her.
No, not the stadium. The finals are always going to be in the.
Oh, she's probably in the nosebleeds. No offense to my mom if you're watching this.
Then probably not that much.
I'm gonna have to ask her, but she probably in the nosebleeds because we know someone else that went. People that we went to school with. Do you remember? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
A couple.
Oh.
I hate saying people's names, but a couple that be at games and stuff and got money because the job of one of them, and they was in the nosebleeds. So I'm sure my mom was in the nosebleeds. No offense to my mom, but yeah, too early to tell. But I think I definitely want to get into tennis more. Like I've always liked tennis. For some reason, I just haven't been really into it in the past few years. But I'm glad that kind of revived it because I really do like watching it. Like it's a good sport to watch. It's very like high pace, high energy. It's not really boring. Like soccer could be boring. Tennis isn't. So yeah, let's go next year. Or let's go to the French Open. Let's be different. Let's go to France and go to the French Open. I mean, I do want to go to Paris like really soon. Go back there. So. But we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff in Paris anyway when we go. Cause we want to go to Disney too, right? You want to go to Disney Paris? Mm-hmm. So it's like we can't have a crazy budget. So I don't know about the French Open, but maybe the U.S. Open next year. So yeah, speaking of brands, could we kind of talk? I saw somebody wearing Adidas, and I'm cutting Adidas off. I don't really even have a lot of Adidas, but I'm just kidding. I'm not one of those crazy fans. But have you been on Instagram a lot last week? Like, have you seen all Kanye's posts? I don't really be on Instagram a lot. Like, not gonna hold you. I really don't. Like, my least favorite app. Very boring. But I did go check in to see what Kanye was talking about because, there was a lot of stuff going on. So I did go creep to see what he was talking about. And basically, it's Kanye versus Adidas and Kanye versus Gap right now. So, honestly, this is like really complex because from a mental health standpoint, and I think I told you this too when his rants were starting, it's hard not to feel, especially experiencing, not me personally, but witnessing manic episodes. It's hard for me not to feel like it's some form of mania because it's like the rapid fire. But then I think understanding more of what Kanye is going through makes me feel like he kind of was just low key behind the scenes, and that something happened that just made him fed up. Like he tried to keep things private, right? Because usually I feel like he comes to the internet. He says he comes to the internet when he feels like he's at wit's end. Like he feels like he tried in private and he tried and tried, but he kept getting played, and that's when he comes to the internet to bring attention to it and bring pressure. So like with Adidas, for example, I think the issue with that is like there's just funky stuff going on with his deal. Like I don't really know the ins and out, and like I didn't really read everything in full. But it seems like there's like a lot of funky stuff with his deal. Like the main thing that he has a problem with Adidas is like they're like releasing shoes without his permission. His shoes. They're like recreating shoes of his. Like you could tell it's like dupes. Like even the shoe that everybody wears with the they kind of look like just like a giant web. You know what I mean?
Now,
like these shoes. Oh, he don't got no pictures anymore. Dang, he deleted everything. I know Diddy posted it though. So, these shoes look similar to, like, those shoes. And the person who made this actually was somebody else. Some person who made this, who crossed it out, was somebody else that was supporting Kanye publicly. Somebody else big. I forgot who it was. But, so, recreating his shoes, doing weird stuff, when he's literally a big factor of your company. So he just wants more respect, more creative roles, to be in the boardrooms. That was always his main thing. He wants to be in the boardrooms, like be in the meetings when it's like, how you having meetings about me, like without me there.
But okay.
So yeah, he just wants more stake, more ownership, more control.
He could pay for that.
How?
You buy stock in the company. That's how that works. It's a partnership. It's
No, but you still have to be hired to be a creative director. Like you can't buy a creative director role. Like it's more than just,
creative director doesn't put you on the board. So what does he want? Creative director?
I think he wants both. I mean, okay, I see what you mean by the board thing, but I think he just wants to be in a room where these decisions are being made about his shoes, where they're selling, all that stuff. And I feel like that's not a crazy ask. Like, you're kind of not going to use somebody, and then when they want more input, you're like, nah, like we're gonna do what we want to do with your design, your image. And I know, like, the thing is, at the end of the day, he's working with them, but as like these companies do, they benefit so much off of people, especially like Black culture, Black people, our ideas, our style, everything, like our coolness. They profit off of it, but then you're not even allowed to make those decisions about their product, like your own product. Basically, it's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So do you think he's like justified in his anger? Like, I mean, apparently he got what he wanted. Like he said, him and his team figured it out, and like they came to a middle ground with Adidas. So apparently he's happy with whatever this outrage created. And you see, like, Diddy's publicly showing support. Like, a lot of people are publicly showing support of Kanye.
I don't know where to fall on this, because this is one of those things where art and business don't mix. So I would assume that there's people on Adidas's design team that work mm-hmm. and that worked on the Yeezy. So if you have people, if that is to be true, because it might not be true, it might be Kanye's own designers at Yeezy, if that even exists. Mm-hmm. But if they are designers at Adidas specifically, and they use the things that they create, because remember, yes, Kanye did make the 350, but it was also a team of like 3 or 4 other people that actually made the Yeezy. Like, in terms of actually, like, Kanye, I think, has ideas, he sketches them, whatever, but the people that actually put these things together, make it feasible, actually make it a physical shoe, are not Kanye. It's not Kanye is making the model. Like, he's not doing everything. He's also not even doing everything from a design standpoint, because drawing something on a piece of paper doesn't really do much.
Yeah, and we saw in his documentary his process.
Right. So if there's people on that work for Adidas that are working on the shoe, and then they use their ideas and designs on another shoe, then, like, because it's the same thing as like Celeb Benberry. Because you see he leaves, and he was working with Kanye, but that was his designs, and now
like
he goes
the croc
somewhere.
that he made.
Yeah. So it's like, in terms of design, it's like, if there was more clarity on who's actually really designing the shoes, then there was the potential for that anger to be invalid, because you can't take somebody's idea and their contribution.
But it's still Kanye's idea. Just because someone else put his idea into physical product.
But it's not even just that. I'm talking about people actually design. Like, it's
like people that design it and then they show Kanye and like do like this.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. And Kanye is not, because we even saw with the 350. I forget the gentleman, but it was like 3 other white gentlemen that actually made the shoe itself. Like, even the design, like the 750, I think it is, was the other one that came out with the turtle doves. Like. Yeah. Literally, they made it, and then they asked Kanye, "Is this okay?" And then he signed off on it. He's like, "Yeah, this is okay." So it's like,
but it's still his likeness, though. Like, it's still his name. Like, the design is not what's selling the shoe. It's his name. The design is probably the second thing. Like,
which is fine.
The first thing is the name.
Which
People
is fine.
want to say I'm wearing Yeezy.
Which is fine, and he still owns that. But I'm talking about the design part, because you're talking about stealing designs. So I'm just addressing that part. Like, if there are other people that have a hand in the design, drawing it all out, like, literally actually designing it. And even if you, because I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that, oh, they stitched the shoe, so that doesn't count. I'm talking about people actually designing it.
No, I get what you're saying.
If they take their design somewhere else, is that really stealing?
I mean, I did, but you know the only reason they're doing that is because they use Kanye's likeness to push that design. Like I said, the design, people were clowning this design. I mean, if you remember at first, but you know how everything else goes, you get the celebrities who feel cool. Like when Kanye wore the Balenciaga Croc boots, nobody was wearing those, and you have another few people doing it. It's like Kanye is a genius. So it's like with these shoes, the design is not what's selling. It's Kanye. Kanye is what sells the shoes initially. And then all the celebrities wear it because they feel cool. I'm wearing something different. It's Kanye. It's easy. I'm wearing something abstract. I'm going to be different. And then you get the aftershock where everybody wants to be different. So now you got people buying these shoes off DHgate. So Adidas only could sell a fake dupe of it because of Kanye. Like the only reason people are even probably would buy that, like, oh, I couldn't get the Yeezy one, so I'm just going to get this one because it looks similar. The only reason they're able to even get that off is because of Kanye's likeness and his name. Like if they would have sold this regular, people probably like, ew, what are those? But it was almost like they wait to see how the design does using Kanye's likeness. And now they're gonna try to profit off of it. Like it is kind of grimy. Because it's one thing if you keep that design to yourself, as an an Adidas designer for yourself. But why try to recreate like a dupe and sell it when Kanye's likeness is what's helping you get that money? You know, like it's his name, it's his likeness at the end of the day that's helping you get money from this shoe. It's not the design. You could agree. Because Adidas has come up with their own designs before that do well. Obviously, the NMDs, all those things were their own products. That wasn't collabs or anything. So it's like, didn't keep doing that. Don't try to use Kanye's designs. Multiple times they did this. Not his designs, but his likeness. Like the shoes only got notoriety, and that shape and that design only got notoriety because there's the Yeezy name attached to it. You could agree with that, right?
Okay.
No, is that not a fact, a valid reasoning? That Adidas is only trying to make money off of the fact that people are only going to buy it because they can't afford the real thing, or the real thing is sold out. So they know, okay, people are definitely going to buy these because they look like the Yeezys. Look how many people reposted it.
Kind of, because the thing is, if you're a company like Adidas, because nobody cares about the exclusivity of Yeezys anymore. They just care about.
People still care.
People don't care about the exclusivity of them.
They do. People still care.
Okay, some people care. Most people don't care because you see there's slides everywhere. People don't really care about the exclusivity of them. So,
well, okay, sorry, that's not exclusivity, but people still care about them. People are still going to wear them. People are still going to buy them.
Yeah, I never said that. That's cool. Not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So people don't care about the exclusivity. Nobody's checking. Oh, only 20,000 people.
Okay.
Bought these.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're a company, it would be advantageous for Adidas to just sell more Yeezys as opposed to making a different design.
Or maybe that's Kanye's point. Maybe they feel like they can't just use his because he has to. I mean, technically, I don't know if he'll sign off or anything, but maybe it's them trying to be funny or them trying to be slick. Like I don't think too like highly of people enough to not do something like that. Like I think people on Adidas on the board definitely could try to be funny. Like we don't know what goes on behind the scenes and beef that might be happening. They could definitely be trying to be funny.
They could, but I also think that they can only do what's in the contract. So,
but sorry to interrupt, but by them doing this, don't they have less money there to pay out to Kanye? So instead of pumping out more Yeezys, doesn't it actually make more sense for them to do something like this because now they don't have to pay Kanye?
It could, but if they're selling these for the same price point, then yeah, that would be true. But if they're not, then no.
But the Yeezys retail are not even super expensive. They're in line kind of with what shoes cost. Like you see,
they're like
off-white Jordan collab was only like $40 more, $30 more than like they were $190, and usually retail for Jordans are like that anyway, $160, $190 anyway. So it's not like it's that much more money with Kanye's name attached to it. So even if they selling these,
so what did Adidas shoes sell for like $220?
I don't know. I don't shop at Adidas.
None.
Well, yeah, Jordans are able to do that.
Maybe the Ultra Boost. So none, because I'm asking, what's the comparison? So if Kanye's selling a Yeezy $350, let's say it's $200, $220, whatever. What price is Adidas selling the dupe for it?
Good question. I'm not even sure.
Because even if they pay out, because I would assume it would be like even if it's $100.
Well, you know how we work in business and we went to school for this stuff. Like they could still do a diagram or whatever, a graph, and still charge like a decent amount less than the Yeezys and still profit more than they would with Kanye. A deal with Kanye. depending on what Kanye's deal is. But you know how like business works. Sometimes even something as little as $5 makes a difference at a year end
His is
profit
20% royalty, I think, plus
of the yearly sales or every sale.
every sale, plus whatever his actual like. I don't even know what else like how else to explain it. Like if he's in like an actual contractual guarantee, you get $100 million a year, whatever.
Yeah. It's called the Addy.
But regardless, I just think, I don't know. What does he want? He wants them to stop making dupes and what else?
I'll read this in a second. I'm trying to see the prices because goat price is coming up. Addy Farm retail. Goat is saying $155 for these.
Usually, if you.
Oh yeah, usually they tell you,
it'll
right?
tell you.
But this says it right here. They just came out too, September 2nd.
120.
120. And how much are the Kanye ones? Are those, what are those called? Are those foam runners?
Yeah.
I should know these things. 120 Kanye's are 90. See the shiesty stuff? Now we seeing $90. Kanye's is cheaper. Kanye's are cheaper.
He did want them to be cheaper.
Yeah, but now you see Adidas is on some shiestiness. But this is basically what he said. Like, look, this is a good thing I just found in this tag post. You can see all the people that supported the game. Obviously, it's Diddy, who's Trouble Man 31. That's T.I. 2 Chainz, Irv Gotti. But then the person who posted this picture first was Swiss Beats. That's what I was trying to look for. He's the one who initially posted this. I don't know if he made this X himself. But this is what he said in the caption, which is kind of, I guess, what Kanye was getting at. He says, I usually mind my business, but this is dead wrong. If we let them do this to Kanye, it will happen to us also. This man created this groundbreaking innovation and should be respected as a creative. Ye is only asking for his work to be respected and not stolen. That's not crazy to me. We not buying these. Adidas, you're supposed to be original. Do the correct thing, please. So I guess, Kanye's issue is stealing the designs and then him not even being in those rooms to even make decisions about his own shoes, and now they're stealing designs. I mean, I could get the frustration, like, and now we found out they are selling more, so they're definitely profiting OD because $90 retail plus whatever they have to give Kanye is a lot less than $120 that they're putting in their pocket just into Adidas and whoever else they might have to pay. That's probably a huge significant profit difference, and they're using Kanye's likeness off their foam runner to sell this Addy foam and like foam, is the foam Addy foam, what are they calling it? So it's still the same materials. Like, I don't like that because, like I said, like if they would have sold this Addy foam prior to the foam runner coming out, I don't know what I say. People would have been clowning it. People would have been like, "What are these Jurassic Park shoes?" But it's because Kanye's likeness of this foam bone looking shoe. People are gonna be like, "Ooh, these are hard," because in their mind they're thinking of the foam runner, so they're gonna buy them. Like these people at Adidas know that too. They know that, and I don't like that. Now we just found out too that they will be profiting a lot more. So I can understand the frustration of Kanye, but apparently he came to a deal. But they're still gonna sell these. They already sold, and that's at the bottom line is, I think the best thing to learn from all this is, and Black people need to learn to do this. It sucks because we don't really have a lot of what do you call it? Was like cash flow to really do these things, but like
but neither do they, and that's the thing.
No, but Adidas has like a foundation, right? They have a company. Like Kanye, like my point was Kanye needs to do these things on his own. Like he should have Yeezy, which is equivalent to Adidas, and sell all his stuff through just Yeezy brand.
Yeah, he should have never went to Adidas in the first place.
And I know you need the materials, but that's what I mean by infrastructure. Like that's what Kanye even said in his song. Like facts. Like all I needed was the infrastructure. Like. That's the thing. Kanye don't have these resources that a company like Adidas has, like these factories, and it sucks because like you want to do these things on your own, but you don't have the infrastructure. But at this point, he's a billionaire. I think he could figure it out. Especially if he worked with a couple other people.
There's no infrastructure like that. Like in the footwear thing, is kind of like a weird thing because it's not like there's an Adidas factory, right? Like there's no Nike factory. They just work with random manufacturers in China. The only thing that people in China care about is getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's what the infrastructure, the reason why those companies work with a company like Adidas is because they know that Adidas has the money to pay them. If they knew that Kanye would pay the money, and who knows, because there's questions about people getting paid from Sunday service and getting paid from Yeezy, so who knows? But if a factory knows that they're going to get paid, they don't care who's paying them.
That's true.
So there's no infrastructure.
And I'm sure it's not hard to find the vendors. I mean, now it would be a breach of contract if Kanye went out and used the same exact vendors. I'm sure he would get sued. But I'm sure it's not really hard to find these vendors for the shoes designs that you want. But I mean, I see from Kanye's perspective of, like, you know, originally he was a Nike. Like, you know, Nike's got good shoes. So it's like you trust that they're going to be able to put your designs to life with their materials. And but it's like, and then it's like, all right, well, Nike, you know, failed me, so I'm gonna move to Adidas, which I know is another reputable shoe company. So I wonder, you know, if he just have this attachment to those names because he came from, you know, you have a story, like you came from nothing, and these are brands you looked up to. But I don't think it would be that hard to do your research. Like you see Kim with Skims, like her vendor, I think people tried to think they found it or something, but it might be some type of contract obligation. So people thought they could buy it from her vendor. It's like, nah, like you can't, that's closed. I think people might have been able to find it, but you see, like, her stuff, I brought some stuff. I got to check out the quality for myself, but people say the quality is really good. Like, she got a really good vendor. So if she could get a good vendor of her clothes, and Kanye had such a big contribution to Skims and, like, you know, putting her on to his designer and everything, helping her with the name, the color scheme. Like, it literally looks like Yeezys. It looked like Yeezy season 1.
He's just chasing his childhood. Like,
that's what I'm saying. He's chasing the childhood.
Working with Nike, working with Adidas,
with
working with Gap. Like,
it's like fulfilling his childhood trauma or something.
The problem with that is that you're chasing partnerships. You're not chasing your own brand.
Because he wants that attachment to it. Like you said, it's like childhood fulfillment, but also like Kanye Adidas, like Yeezy Adidas, and Yeezy Nike.
And listen, you can, I mean, you need the money for it, but like you see Elon wanted to take over Twitter, so he didn't do it yet.
I don't know if he's going to anymore.
Well, they might force him to. He might not have a choice, depending on how the court ruling goes.
Yeah.
But he wanted to change Twitter, so what did he do? He bought himself into the board. So if you want to be on a board, then you can pay
enough money.
You can pay for that. Like all those people that are on the board, I mean, typically you have to be voted in, but it's kind of hard for a board to deny you.
Yeah, because you just it's just majority ownership.
Yeah, or that's the thing. You could buy the whole company and then fire everybody on the board. Because if Elon ends up buying Twitter, that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna fire everybody in the company.
Yeah, and then they redo Twitter.
And then redo it. So if he wants a spot, you got to fight for it. Just in the same way that even though they're white,
that's what he's doing with this. Like I think he fought in public. I mean in private, but then they're not hearing him. So it's like, all right, now I'm gonna embarrass you. Like I have like basically what Kanye's saying is like I have. Like, what's the word? Influence. Like, don't forget who you messing with. Like, damned if you do, but damned if you don't. That's what he said about them. He's like, if you guys let me go, you're effed basically. If you don't, you're effed. Like, so we're gonna have to figure something out because you know his influence is crazy. Like,
but that doesn't, because that's somebody that's like another layer that people don't understand about business, because you're talking to a publicly traded company. Like you can't just get a board seat from a publicly traded company as if that doesn't have to go through like approval from all your shareholders and everybody else. Like these are votes. Like people in real life have to actually vote for these things. It's not just I sell a lot of sneakers, so let me make financial decisions about the whole company. When do we know if Kanye knows how to run a company really?
Yeah. Like he might not at all. Like,
does he know how to manage payroll? Like, do you know how to do all of the other facets of what somebody on a board seat would do?
And that's his issue. I think he just wants control, but he doesn't necessarily have the skill set to.
And I don't know. He might.
But I think he might. But I feel like what he kind of saying, he just wants more like creative control. He wants more of a say on what's happening with his shoes. But I get there has to be a system of checks and balances of business. I think he needs to understand that. That's why I really wonder what this consensus he got to with them. Like, I would love to know.
You know what another example is? There was Elliott Management, who is one of the clients I manage at where I work. They wanted PayPal to change something. So what did they do? They bought a shitload of PayPal and forced PayPal to change these things. And they have to do it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if he brought Adidas, or is the correct term bought? I always forget. Bought is buy.
Well, he couldn't.
Brought is bring.
Adidas has way too much money, but
Yeah, but if he was able to like be a majority owner, he could have a say, and then he could pick who he wants to be the creative director of these things. Like you could hire all your creatives in your life that you want to be in charge, you know, or the best people that you feel like would be the best for the company. Because you see too, he posted the picture of everybody on the board. Now something else too he had an issue with. He said that he feels like there's too much people in bed with each other. Because there was somebody who was like working at Adidas who also was like the head of something at JP Morgan. So it's like
that's how that works.
Yeah, but I think he's getting frustrated at that. And it's like I know I get it because from like a business standpoint, like you see everybody in those pictures, all white, all Asian. It's like we don't have no voices in these spaces, and it's like that's why I feel like he was so hurt by that DC guy. 'Cause as a black man, he probably felt like he would have his back, but I guess he didn't. But it's like they're all in bed with each other, and it's like he should have known that. Like when you go into business, it's tricky. And I guess like, he was saying he was trying to get money from JP Morgan to do stuff like to help him. I don't know if he was planning on buying shares maybe, but and like JP Morgan's work, the girl who works at Adidas is working at JP Morgan, so he said he felt like he was getting blocked. Like,
but yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah,
like you
they
pay
playing the game.
You pay your way into these places. Like if you go to any museum, the people that are on the board of those museums are people that run multi-billion-dollar organizations. Like, yeah, you make money to put yourself in positions of power. You don't make money to just make money in that one spot. Yeah. And the same principles that he's trying to apply, other people do that. Like, I got money, so let me put some money over here, and now I control this section of real estate, and that's what gives you power, and that's what he's looking for. He just doesn't know how to go about doing that. Yeah,
and like, but it's probably just frustrating from his standpoint because he's still learning these things. And it's like,
number one is stop chasing partnerships. Like, you asking for permission for people. When you own your own company, you do whatever you want. Adidas doesn't have to ask anybody for it to do anything, but you have to ask them because you wanted to go into partnership with them. And I know that's easier said than done, and I don't know anything about running any sort of company in any capacity, but what I do know is that if you strike out on your own, just like the creators of Adidas did, then you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to chase a partnership. Because look at H&M. H&M publicly puts out all of their vendors, exactly where they source every single thing. They say, my hoodies came from this specific factory. They don't care. They'll tell you all of that. And they did those things. Hens and Moritz were the people that created H&M. Why it's called H&M.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they... Look at it. You can't go to a mall without H&M.
Yeah, and they're huge.
And they're selling...
very successful.
They're selling $5 T-shirts.
Yeah. And this stuff is actually really inexpensive. Really expensive.
So anybody can do it, but you got to stop chasing the partnership, because you see JP Morgan right here is on our screen.
Yeah,
hosting the US Open. Yeah, they selling $10,000.
American Express.
$10,000. They're buying $10,000 tickets to watch people play tennis. Like, it's just a different level of.
It's a different level of wealth, and like I would pray that Black people we could get to that point one day, but we're so far behind. Slavery and Jim Crow, all that stuff wasn't that long ago. Like, I think Black people got to remember that. Like, we got a long ways.
But to start, stop chasing partnerships. You should not chase let me collab with McDonald's.
Yeah, because that's the thing with Gap. Like, I was like, oh, this is a dream collaboration. And I'm like, nothing's going to go wrong with this. Like, even with Adidas, I'm like, nothing's going to go wrong with this. He literally made a whole song praising them and, like, dragging Nike and Outlook. I'm like, Kanye got to realize he's going to come across this problem with every single brand he works with. Like, the solution is just making your own thing. Like, but I get he's trying to fight for change. Like, I think he should still fight for change. Oops.
But the thing...
whatever level of, like, he feels like input that these creators should have. Like, I get that. And, like, he shouldn't tolerate disrespect. He shouldn't tolerate Adidas doing the design thing. But at the end of the day, like you said, he got to get his own design team then. Get people that patent those designs that work for you, that work for just the Yeezy brand. Don't get Adidas designers to do those things. Because then that's just the law. That's legal. How do you say legality? Like, if they have the designs, they have the designs. So we might think it's morally wrong, and it is, in my opinion, but they could do what they want legally.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They wouldn't step out and do those things if it wasn't legal.
Yeah. Like, they don't want to get sued.
Yeah. So, and I have on the screen for people listening, Adidas's market cap as of right now, and by market cap, that means their total value is 27.45 billion euros.
They got bands.
I'll do the dollar calculation.
Adidas. I actually realized Adidas is his name is Adi, the first three letters,
and last name Dassler.
Dassler, so it's the first three letters of his last name, Adidas.
Yes.
I was like,
you see that number? That's how much
a
you
lot of
need to do.
zeros.
That's a lot of zeros. That's 3 commas.
That's how much you need to buy out that company.
To buy out the
Kanye
company,
don't got
Kanye would need
27 bill.
$27,400,335,000.
Nah, he don't got that. Even him being worth $1 billion don't mean he got $1 billion. Like people don't realize that net worth doesn't mean you got $1 billion in the bank. That just means
Yeah,
at any moment the value of all his assets and his stock is $1 billion. However billion.
The best way people should think about it is if you took everything that you own and sold it, that's what your net worth is.
Like your car out there was like 26,000, so your net worth. I mean, we got student loans, so our net worth unfortunately is negative, but like that's what it is. Like just because I got a $25,000 car out there, don't mean I got $25 in my bank account. I mean, I got more than that, but that's not the point. Like, but if I was able to take like you said, the value of your house, like. Doesn't house get added to your net worth? Like if we were to get a $500,000 house today that we only put like $50,000 down on, our net worth would still be $500,000 because our house, that value of the house. Oh wait, no, it's the value of what we put in.
Because that's still considered a debt.
I'm
Just like a student loan would
be. You're right.
And you would pay that back, but the second that you pay off,
put in, the second that you pay in, that whole thing is yours. So like,
when you make that last
that
final
don't mean,
payment,
like you see, Cardi B's house might have been $5 million, so that's $5 million to part of her net worth. That don't mean she got $5 million on hand, but that means if she were to sell her house today and all her value of all her assets, she would have that money. Like people are like a little slow. I know you guys don't really got good education and not really smart, but net worth doesn't mean liquid cash. So
yeah, I think it's estimated his liquid cash is 100.
And there's no way to even know that too. It's estimations too. That's another thing. A lot of
based on publicly available.
People be like, oh my God, this person's net worth is only $1 million. I mean, net worth could be underestimated or it could be over. And also, your net worth, people have under the table money. Mm-hmm. So it could be the opposite, where your net worth is like $5 million, but you really got $20 million in the bank or on cash. It could be the opposite.
You could literally just see it, right? Like, Drake bought $100 million mansion, right? Mm-hmm. And
like he brought cash.
Did he?
Did he? I'm asking you.
No, I don't know. I ain't paying attention.
Or his plane with his name on it. I wonder who owns that.
The plane he does not. That is actually owned by another company that allows. They don't even pay him. They actually just allow him to use it for free.
That's crazy.
For free, as long as he flies it frequently, so that way it brings attention to that company's planes.
Because people post that picture all the time with that it's blue, right? Because that girl who saw him in Turkish Caicos, that's the weird thing. You know, she saw him like his plane at the airport like 2 days before she actually saw him at like whatever it's called. What does that say it was called? Noah's Ark. Mm-hmm. Imagine how weird it is, right? You see his plane and you actually see him and next to him at a bar. Like that's so weird. But the island's not that big, so.
Because to buy a plane like that is like those big jets are like $1 billion.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I'm like
$500 million,
and that's a big jet.
Yeah, it's a big jet, jumbo jet.
But people will be like, "Oh my God, Drake's so rich. He got that jet."
No, the deal
he didn't buy the jet.
To bring them attention. It's basically a sponsorship deal. Like you can use our plane for free, and part of the deal was that he has to use it frequently. So that's why
you see it all the time.
Yeah,
not a bad deal though.
But yeah, so just people got to stop chasing partnerships. Stop doing collabs. Unless you don't care. Unless you're using the money to put it into something like that, right? Like Travis Scott doing McDonald's. That shouldn't be the goal. The goal should not be securing the partnership.
Yeah,
like the goal.
They're using you. Like, yeah, you're making money from it, but keep in mind these companies are using you too and making themselves richer. Like the rich get richer.
So
and meanwhile, you gassed over it.
Don't chase a partnership. And like if you're doing commercials, if you're doing that whole advertising thing, that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to take the money. And not everybody's a business person, but assuming you want to be a business person, have influence, make a company like that. You should be taking that capital and putting it into something else.
Yeah, like it should be just what you want too. Like Kanye, clearly this is what he wants, so he should be doing this, and he might be behind the scenes, but it don't look like it.
If people are making $1 million off a show, you know what you can make. What kind of company, what kind of business you can make with $1 million? You know what kind of company you can invest in.
But what do they do with that $1 million? Buy a car, buy all these watches, and like fine, you do that. You can. You're allowed to do whatever you want with your money. But at the same time, you could do that, but don't complain when you go broke, or don't complain when you're not owning stuff, or, oh, the white man and white people got so much money. Like, you have opportunities to make that generational wealth and double, triple what you have. So, can't keep blaming the white man for everything.
Yeah. Stop chasing partnerships, and then you don't have to answer to anybody and ask for their permission. Because this was the same thing. It's like literally the same thing about the Nike thing. The whole reason why the Nike deal got canceled was because he, first off, they didn't want to pay him royalties. Now, at the time, Kanye was an innovator because if you weren't an athlete at Nike, then you wouldn't get royalties.
Yeah, rappers wasn't having shoe deals either. That was like a new thing.
Right, yeah. They did the one-off shoes, but people weren't getting royalties. But also, they didn't give him creative control to put out more colors and all that kind of stuff. So you're just gonna keep running into these things because these are publicly traded companies. So I understand how it is when you get in these boardrooms and meeting rooms and stuff like that. Like, if you're even able to get in there, it might be frustrating because it's the thing about business and art don't mix, because they don't. It's the same thing about like fashion. Like, for example, like I feel like a lot of new Dior and Gucci is super trash because they have to sell clothes because they're owned by these financial firms. Yeah. It's not like these are just, Gucci is just its own independent company selling clothes and selling t-shirts. It's like, nah, there's a whole private equity firm that owns Gucci, and they also own Abercrombie, and they own all these different things. So you have to answer to a lot of people, you have to answer to people that have a lot more money than you do. And
that's just how the life game works. Like, if you want to avoid all that, you just have to be uber rich. Unfortunately, you have to be those people at the top of the food chain.
You know what it's like?
It's rare.
It's almost like wanting your boss to give you like pay me extra $300,000 like right now. Yeah. And it's like, nah. It's like, nah. If you want that money, then go get it yourself then.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. I think Kanye needs to learn that. Like,
and this is not the way to go about business either.
Yeah, like, 'cause now you look crazy. Like, honestly, and you know I'm a Kanye fan, but all these beefing with these companies is not a good look. Like, beefing all these CEOs, posting their pictures, posting text messages.
And the thing
that's real tricky. Like, imagine you seeing him posting, like, he posting a screenshot with your full name and your information. Like, you know, doxing is such a crazy thing. And it's like, his fans, I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm not a psycho fan. Like, his psycho fans literally probably find these people, probably DMing them, right, on Facebook or whatever, LinkedIn.
And the thing about that,
who wants to work with somebody like
that he should learn too, is knowing how deep business is. You should probably not do that, because the one person that you piss off here is connected to.
That everybody's in bed together.
Yeah, if everybody's in bed together, then why do that to somebody? Because all it's gonna do is just prevent you. Because that's the whole thing. Oh, they try to blackball me. They forgot about two things. My blackballs. Yeah. It's like, kind of, but yeah, like that's how it works, because these money is money. Like, you're like, yes, Lucian Grange, who runs Universal, is definitely going to be in Martha's Vineyard somewhere with the CEO of JP Morgan and the CEO
They're
of
all
Morgan
friends.
Stanley.
Like, these top people are all friends. All these people that work at these big companies that you need to thrive if you're trying to do these things.
You know how many rich people and wealthy people I walk by on a daily basis? There's a lot.
You wouldn't even know.
No, I know.
No,
I've seen the suits.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you wouldn't even know their names or who they are on top of your head. Yeah.
But they got way more power than you do. Like, there's.
And that's the thing. If Kanye needs to get there. Like, if you know you need these people, don't burn bridges. If you feel like you don't need them, then prove to the world that you don't need them, because you might not need them. Like, if you and all your rich friends get together, they could do these things. Like, that's the thing about Black people. We don't ever get together because somebody, like, you see, we were talking about Kim creating her private equity firm. If Black people just got together, they could do these things. Create your equity firm. Be the next big bank. Like, do these things. But it's not happening.
And what she's doing, and where I will give her a shout out, is that the person that she created it with is someone that had a long tenure at an investment firm called Carlyle. Mm-hmm.
So she's having help, but that's fine. A lot of these big people who are really successful, they had help. They collaborated, right? But that's why, like, a lot of these company names are named after two people. Like you just said, H&M. It's named after two people. You know, a lot of times these companies are named after multiple people because you need multiple people.
You see this number?
Jesus.
The Carlyle Group is a global investment firm that currently has $376 billion worth of assets under management. And the gentleman that is creating this private equity firm with Kim Kardashian was a big contributor to that number.
So she got really big success.
But that's the type of shit that you need to do.
Yeah.
And doing that
she's
type of
smart
thing
for
where
that.
you're starting a firm together, because that's no different than what a hedge fund is. Though that's how you make the money. So
Yeah.
so partnering in that sense makes sense. Like you can't
Yeah.
start a firm by yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why, like I was saying, a lot of these company names are named after multiple people, right?
Yeah.
Like even like JP Morgan and Chase work together, and they're two big companies, and they have like JP Morgan and Chase, right? Then they work together sometimes.
JP Morgan owns Chase.
Oh, okay, that's the thing.
Yeah,
They brought them out. Okay,
JP Morgan was its own firm and Chase was its own firm.
Okay, and then
and both gentlemen a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, not both gentlemen, not the originators, but like eventually they became
together.
one, and then Chase,
that's different then.
Chase became its retail part of their firm, and then JP Morgan is their like financial industry.
Yeah.
So Chase is explicitly for like the normal people, and JP Morgan
like
is for the wealthy people, the investment part. Chase doesn't have any any investment.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, well, I mean, I think PricewaterhouseCoopers they came together too, but like that's like an example. Like those are three different people. Price, Waterhouse, and Coopers. Those are like three different people. So like a lot of these brands and a lot of these, brands, but a lot of these businesses started as collaborations, and it's like you need people. So Kanye has so many rich people in his network, and it's like black people could really, like, imagine a black owned JP Morgan, like something like that. We could create that. But started, like I said, I don't know what the reluctancy is. I don't want to speak on other people's money, but it's like that's the best solution. You got to be that top of the totem pole, man. You can't be mad at other companies for not being that.
You know what? Part of the issue, it's like I literally the theme of today, like I was saying earlier, it's you don't know what you don't know, right? So when you look at somebody, and I don't know these people personally. I don't know what they do. I don't know what their business setups are. It's not public to me. Mm-hmm. But Rick Ross owns a ton of Wingstops, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with that is that Rick Ross says that Rick Ross owns a ton of Wingstops. It should be R&R Investment Management LLP owns these Wingstops. It shouldn't be, if you want to get into that level of money, it's not about you. And that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Like it's not about you.
It's a partnership.
It's the partnerships. You have to also allow other people to take equity out in your firm as well. It's not I'm gonna wholly 100% own this company, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have anything, right?
We would have nothing. If everybody walked around with that selfish mindset, none of these
like look at Mark Zuckerberg, right? He started Facebook, but needed the money. He needed some investments. He needed his CFO to, get a loan to help run the business. It's the same thing. You can't do
it on your own. Nobody could do these things on their own. It's not possible. But maybe one day, but it's not really possible.
But that's something different. Like partnership on something like a piece of art, like a shoe or a T-shirt, is different than partnership in owning a company. Partnership in owning a company is okay, because no one company owns 100% of themselves. Like Fidelity owns part of JP Morgan, just like JP Morgan owns part of Fidelity. Like it all works together. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what you don't know. But I just think that creating your own private equity firm is one of the closer steps to owning and putting yourself in those rooms.
Yeah. And like I said off camera, like if Kim's private equity firm is successful, like those kids are set for life. Like, I just hope Kanye just makes smart decisions for the rest of his life. But we'll see what happens with him. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how stuff pans out. Like, he deleted everything, but I just worry that a lot of his stuff is, like, from a place of mania. And I hate giving boxing mental health into a box and making it seem like, oh, he must have been in a manic episode, when he could just be, we're all humans that vent. So I don't want to throw that stigma out there, but my fear is that he's just gonna do stuff that he regrets, and then it's just like,
look, the Carlyle Group. Look how many number of founders, 230.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need people.
Founded in 1998. They came up.
Jesus, they're younger than us.
Yeah, younger than us, and they're up $300 billion.
Crazy. Good for them. What's PGIM's network? Assets under management.
Not a lot.
Don't laugh at them. I don't even work for PGIM. I work for Prudential, okay? PGIM's kind of like their own separate entity. I mean, they're still under the Prudential umbrella, but...
Look, funding round, 667. They raised $67 billion in funding, meaning they
initially.
Meaning they took, well, just in general, because you could raise funding even
while you're active.
while you're active. $67 billion that they got from other people to be able to flip that to 300 something. So you always need somebody, but how you use people is the thing. If you want to use people for manufacturing and infrastructure, you're never going to get anywhere. You need to own the manufacturer.
Yeah.
and
it's not possible to own everything. Like you could, but it's a lot of work, but you still need people at the end of the day.
Yeah. I need to be his financial advisor.
I know. But I feel like he would get mad at you.
He would.
From you telling him the truth. Kanye, I feel like Kanye the type that got yes men around him. Just my observation.
I think everybody that has any level of success has yes men around them, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because you don't want to get on his bad side.
Except for, I would say in the entertainment world at least. Because the thing about entertainment is that the people that are around you want the clout. And they have the benefit of being around you, so then it kind of like makes them poppin'. But like in finance, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So the people that really have the money, there's no clout in it.
They be telling themselves about each other. They be fighting. Like
they'll curse each other out.
Even in the business world, like at work, they be doing that.
Because the only thing that connects them all is money, and not everybody wants to make money. So they don't care.
You want to make sure that these decisions are right with the money you make. Compared to clout is clout.
Yeah. So people in finance will curse each other out, but somebody in entertainment is not going to curse you out for doing something stupid because they want the new Yeezy shade.
Yeah, and they're benefiting off of you in the short term too. They're benefiting off whatever money you might give them, but you buying them meals, you get them into parties, So they're not going to give you financial advice. That's why you saw what happened with Mike Tyson. Because everybody around him was benefiting off the money. They wasn't giving him financial advice. They wanted him to keep spending so they could get money. But
partners and managing directors make an average of $22 million. Anyway, what else we got?
But yeah, he needs to stop fighting with them, stop fighting with Gap. But the Gap told him that he had or his team, I think, said that you had to stay off the internet or Instagram about, like, don't say nothing for 10 days. So he was like, all right, fine, 10 days. So I guess he's on punishment. But see, it's like, that's not good. You don't want to get into legal stuff. Like, and I say, fight the good fight. Of course, fight for what's right, but
what did Gap do?
His main thing, he said, I think I got it confused with Adidas, but his thing with Gap, he was like, Gap is having meetings about Yeezy without Yeezy in the room or something. So his issue was them, I guess, still, the same thing, like them making decisions and like something with like physical stores. So this is like a whole bunch of stuff. And I just think, like we said, he just needs to get his own stuff. Like, you're going to have to work with these companies. And I think that's the bottom line. Like, you can still fight for what's right, but you also have to, you gotta respect that's how business works.
But that kind of makes sense though, because you wouldn't do that in finance either. You wouldn't necessarily like if two businesses are doing some sort of collaboration or like, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of a more tangible example. You wouldn't necessarily have the board from company A in the room together with company B discussing, because that's not their business, right? Like, that's like a conflict of interest actually almost. Because
it's like you have to let the company do this thing. Like, I get it, like you might feel sneaky or weird, but like, what do you expect? You're just a partnership. Like,
for example, it would be the equivalent of when your manager gives you a raise, right? The people that are in the room discussing your raise, you're not in the room while they're discussing what they should do.
Like, when my managers talk to the vice president and the vice president goes to HR or whatever, like, because how does it work? Like, when they come up with your raise, do they tell HR what they want to give you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and so we're not in the rooms when my manager's telling the VP my performance. We're not in the room when the manager's talking about each other about my performance and then coming up with that decision. We're not in the room with that.
Actually, the way it works is that...
Why would you want to be in the room? I mean, I get it from Kanye's point, though. You might want to be in the room. But what my company does, we have self-appraisals. Do you have them too? Self-appraisals? Like, where you could talk about your own stuff?
Oh, yeah. Your own accomplishments and whatever.
Yeah. So, like, I feel comfortable enough. Like, all right, they give you the free will to type as much as you want. And you could pick 2 people or 3 people to work with, that you work with, to review you. So I feel comfortable knowing, okay, they're going to have my self-appraisal and I said everything. I made sure I fought for all the stuff. Know what I did all this year, and you guys use that now to your advantage to decide on my raise. If I didn't have a self appraisal, I might feel a little weird, like maybe I should be in there and just to fight for what what my raise should be, since I'm the one at the end of the day who knows the work I put in, partially. Obviously managers know too, but you also know some stuff they might forget.
No, I get it, but at the same time, it's like.
At the same time, it's like you got to play the game, and that's life sometimes.
It also depends on what the because they're allowed to have a conversation, right? Like they can't like have to have like.
You can't just be sitting there like in a corner.
Like it's not your company.
Yeah,
like
it's
a partnership.
It's not.
You're basically, it's the same thing as like basically the equivalent of Dr. Dre Beats headphones, right? Dr. Dre didn't own that company. That all he did was slap his name on a pair of headphones that Monster, the company, created, right? So like, that's all it is. You're just putting your name on a product as somebody, like it's a partnership. It's not. You're not a part of Gap. Like, you don't work there. You're not an employee. You don't own any stock there. Like, you're not on the board. And if you want to, you can, but you're not. So you can't act like it. Like, that would be the equivalent of me walking into any bank and being like, put me on the board because I have a bank account here. Like, that's not really how it works.
Yeah. And it's just like, like you said, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not your company, and they're allowed to make decisions on physical stores and all that stuff. 'Cause this is stuff that affects their bottom line.
If with that specifically, that's if it was in the contractual.
Yeah, 'cause that's the thing. You have contracts too. That's the thing about Kanye. Like, you agree to these contracts, but then you get upset about stuff.
Yeah, you can't get upset about it if you sign the contract. Like, it's the same thing. We've had the same conversation with so many rappers. Like, you sign the contract, it's right there.
Yeah.
If they use
there's nothing that they like.
If they use confusing language, like, first of all, Google exists. Like, you can look up what these terms mean.
Yeah.
Lawyers exist. Like, that's what they get paid to do. And the problem is people hire entertainment lawyers. You can't hire an entertainment lawyer because they're all in bed together. You can hire any other lawyer, anybody that's ever read a contract professionally, and they'll be able to outline what this contract is saying to you, and then sign it if you want, and don't sign it if you don't want to.
Yeah,
and then you can't complain about anything.
And then just ask questions too,
because there's no debate. Like,
you're able to ask questions in those rooms too.
Yeah, it's legally binding. There's no debate. If it's on a piece of paper, they're gonna put all of the terms. Usually they're very vague. I will say that, so it leaves room for interpretation, so that they could fight it in court if they need to. But still, it's right there. Mm-hmm. It's not like they like put handcuffs on you.
And now made you sign it.
And now they're selling 350s. Yeah.
And, this is not something else too. I guess like it's the same thing with Adidas. They basically copied it. Like, this is Gap, and they that's obviously the Kanye influence. That looks like the Yeezy Gap stuff. So it's the same thing with Adidas, that he's having the same issue. Basically, they're stealing designs. They're using his likeness and his thing.
I wonder if in the contract it says that. Then
that's what I'm saying. It could say that, because if they're legally able to do that, then it's legal. Is it morally wrong? Yes. But
is it then? If you signed it, is it even morally wrong?
Yeah, because you agreed to it.
Like, if you tell me I could slap you in the face in this contract, and I slap you in the face, you can't get mad when you get slapped.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
I gotta get more Yeezy Gaps though. I'm trying to have a fit like this for the winter. I got the hat already. I think the hoodie and the gloves. That bag was cheap too. I was like, I never seen this picture before, but it just came out. Coi Leray. He got a lot of people in that campaign. Did you see the video?
No, don't show me right now either.
Because
we got to move on.
Okay, I'll start the next topic.
We're at an hour and a half.
I know. We said it's an hour and 13 minutes. Okay, so the next thing, these last is like these short topics, but we just talked about this a little bit off camera. But the person who sold Nicki's nail on eBay. Mm-hmm. So for anybody who doesn't know, Nicki, I don't think we talked about this too, but Nicki got a VMA, the Vanguard Award. I think it's named after Michael Jackson. So, I think that's well deserved. She does have like a lot of good videos and iconic videos. So. And
while we're on that point, just real quick, not to interrupt her praise, I think that they need to give out. There's so many people, so many pioneers, legends that need to get these awards. Like,
while they're alive.
And I don't understand why they don't do these things.
Yeah. Because you could give some of these people these awards only 10, 15 years, and it doesn't even have to be a super, like, you don't have to be like been
Yeah,
alive for that long.
they act like people gotta be damn near dead
Yeah.
to give them an award.
That's why I'm glad that Nikki got one at like 39, 40, because it's like, good. Like, she should be getting that like 10, 15 years into her career. Like, that's makes sense. You shouldn't be 60 years old, 70 years old with a king, getting an award like for being a vanguard.
For something
like,
you did like mad long
yeah,
ago.
like stupid.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so her nail fell off, like, and somebody, they say you're not allowed to have your phone, so they didn't really have proof right away. But they saw, they zoomed in on her nail. Her nail was missing. Somebody in the crowd got her nail. Sold at a listing price for $14,000 on eBay. Sold for $55,100. So I was just brought that up because we already talked about it a little bit off camera, but I only brought it up because I was reading the comments and a lot of people were saying like how smart it was, like, oh, that's lit, like that's low key come up. And other people were like, people are crazy, like buying this for a nail, like you love Nikki that much, and it's like, nah, it's deeper than that. And like, we've been talking about a business a lot on this episode. You made me realize, I'm like, yeah, it is deeper than that. It's not just the nail that so a super fan is probably hiding in a box. It's a smart business move. Like, people love museums. You guys go to museums all the time. You could see clothes that Beyonce wore for, certain performances. You could see Michael Jackson stuff. I think we've seen museums where his stuff was there, like his outfits. Like, and you've been to a lot of museums. Like, you travel all around this country.
Listen.
You've been on the freaking bus and sat in the seat that Rosa Parks sat in. Like, these things are worth money. Like, it's deeper than somebody just a super fan and obsessed with the nail. Like, that nail could literally be in a museum 50 years from now, 100 years from now, being this is Nikki's nail that she wore when she won the Vanguard Award. Like, that's a big deal. This is how nails looked in 2022, like, from a female rapper. Like,
when I was in St. Louis, I went to a jazz museum and they had tons of stuff in there. Outfits from from legends just sitting there. And this is one of those things, like, yeah, it may seem crazy, but from a business perspective, it's smart because people do care about these things. People care about collectibles and memorabilia. And while it seems like a high number for people that don't really have a ton of money, and that's no disrespect, it's just what it is. Like, some people
would be like 55. Oh, you're crazy. I'm like, 55,000 is like less than 1% of money for a lot of people.
You saw what I just showed you. Like, the managing partners at this company make $22 million a year.
Yeah.
So
also, we were just talking about off camera the NBA fines. People be paying that in fines.
Yeah.
50,000 is nothing for a lot of people.
For cursing at a ref, people get charged.
We make more than $50,000 a year, a lot more. So it's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing for us. I wouldn't say it's nothing because if I had 50,000 right now, like,
you buying Nikki's nail?
I'll be lit. I'm not buying Nikki's nail, but it's like that's still not even how much we make. So I hate when people be like, oh, 50,000, that's dumb. I'm like, how's that dumb? That's like less than 1% of money for a lot of people. So
it's nothing for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot for you, but top being so the world revolves around you. No, a lot of people got money, and it's nothing for them. And who knows? That could be multiple people that brought that nails together. 10,000 each. That could be 5 people that paid $10K each.
It could have been a company.
Yeah.
Like I said before, these companies we're watching the U.S. Open. Each seat in certain sections are $10,000 a piece. And the companies
own the seats.
And the companies bought all of them.
Yep.
So they all sold out. These companies make. What does LeBron make a second?
How would you get that number? His year?
Because somebody calculated it.
Oh, yeah. You would take his yearly income, right? Divided by days, hours, seconds.
LeBron makes $188 a second, $11,299 per minute. So he can make
55,000. That's 5 minutes for LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron just has to go on the court for 5 minutes, and he might not even score.
He might be on the bench those 5 minutes.
Per game per game is 542,000. So the world does. There's a whole other section of the world that does exist.
Oh my Lord! I just realized that. Oh God.
Now, yeah, $500,000. It's crazy. He makes a house.
That just made me sad.
Well, that's several
houses.
houses.
My God, Alex.
But anyway, from a business perspective,
that's like life-changing money for a lot of people.
If you have certain memorabilia, it means something, and it means something to a lot of people. Like, if they put that nail in Madame Tussauds or something like that, like that's the type of stuff where you can continue to make money off of an investment.
Like we've been to museums where like you said, Madame Tussauds, they might have replicas of the nails, but then the one that fell off, like, this is the actual nail.
Yeah,
people are gonna want to come see that. Like,
and for people that don't know the business of museums, basically the way it works is it's kind of and I'll try not to overly complicate it. It's kind of like a tax haven. So if you have a museum, you get certain type of deductions and tax benefits if you own one. So that's why if you see a lot of wealthy people, they're the board members of museums. That's why, because you could get tax write-offs and benefits for that reason. And also they're a moneymaker, obviously, because they get, you know, grants and things from the city, and they also get massive donations. So when you have an event like the Met, it brings in a ton of money, and museums are kind of like a business in that sense. And then they use some of that money to do things like pay people for the art. So the art that's in a museum is changing constantly because the museum typically does not own the art or the exhibition that you see. They're renting it, and that's why exhibitions change all the time.
And if you're the owner of that nail and you're renting that out and you're highly desirable, like, oh, we need that nail in our museum, you could charge whatever you want. If that company's desperate, they're going to pay.
Yeah, like,
ooh, my bad.
If they have like a hip hop museum, if they have certain things, a company will pay the money for it.
And who knows what the future of that's going to hold. Like, people don't realize hip hop and rap is a very young genre. Like, this stuff was made after our parents were born. Like, my mom was literally in Brooklyn when this was all popping off in the Bronx. Like, she was there. And it's like, so this is a young genre. Like, who knows what the future holds when it comes to like museums and things, you know, that's gonna happen with like hip hop museums and stuff, rap museums. And Nicki is like, at this point, like, I would say the greatest rapper, female rapper. And some people could say the greatest rapper because like it's deeper than like her skill. It's like just everything she's been able to do. The longest standing career, you know, relevancy, like, so it's a lot deeper than like, and people like to have that argument, who's the best female rapper. But for me, I consider her the best just for everything that she's done, you know? Like, so somebody that notable, that nail is going to be, that person's going to make a lot of money off that nail. If that's what they're doing, we don't know who it is, but if that's what they plan on doing with it.
Or they're just a collector, just in the same way why, like, you can say it's stupid to collect art. Like, okay, it's dumb to you.
Yeah.
We don't know why art has the value it has, but somebody values it that way.
Yeah, and I hate when people say stuff like that. Like, it's dumb to you, but you spent that same amount of money probably over the years on going to clubs and bottles in the club. Like, everybody has what they love. You like drinking and killing yourself and destroying your liver. They like collecting art. I had to say that, but I did. So yeah, they could just be collecting it. Like you said, some people have huge collections. Like we see
of random stuff, guitars, cars.
Who's that guy who created Vape?
Nigo.
We saw his video.
He has tons of random things. A
museum literally in his house. That Helmut Lang guy, that what's his name? That unknown vlogs, just went to his house and where were they, in Berlin? They were in Germany, I think. Somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
I think it was Berlin, but yeah, he has. We don't know what he's gonna do with that Helmut Lang. He just might be a collector. He might just love the fashion, and he has a whole museum. Like, people just have their passions, and it's at the end of the day, it's not dumb. Like, so people in the comments saying, "Oh, people are crazy for buying that for a nail." Like,
okay,
think deeper. Like, you guys think so surface level, and it's crazy. Like, they got like people just are so ignorant.
You know, because
think it's funny because they got 20,000 people liking that comment. Like, you guys are all dumb, all 20,000 of you.
Because the funny thing about that is that people say it's dumb, but like the person has the 50,000 to pay for it.
Exactly. And people say it's dumb, but what are black? And I know we're black, but sometimes we do play damsel in distress. What black people gonna say 50 years from now? The white man. And like, yes, the white man. I agree. Like, I want my reparations, but also it's like, you clown the man who did that, who might become a multimillionaire one day off of that investment.
Off of that nail.
Like, but you was clowning it. Like, these are the things that the white man are doing. They making these smart investments, but all you guys are clowning them, not thinking deeper. That's why we're gonna be stuck forever if you're not thinking like that. So keep saying the white man, dumb decision, dumb. I want my money now. Life's short. Yeah, keep having that mentality. That's why we not making no steps forward, and it's frustrating. Even my parents have pissed me off with this house situation. Like, even my dad was saying that, like, that's an asset. And, like, what they're going through and stuff is like, the house is halfway paid off, like 15 more years. Like, we need this generation of wealth. Like, black people don't know really how to make smart decisions, and it's whatever sometimes. And I hate generalizing ourselves, but you see it. Like, you see it. There's too many examples for me to feel like it's not facts at some point.
Oh, no, it's definitely facts.
It's too many examples.
For sure. I don't
It's not
see.
even a stereotype anymore.
I don't see many of us in the. You know what the unfortunate part of it too is that even if I finish that sentence, it'll always come back to being, trying to appease. People would try to say you're trying to appease.
Yeah, you guys are white men or white sympathizers. No, I just want better for our people. Sometimes you need tough love. Sometimes you need to hear it harsh way. Like, I agree, we definitely are behind because of slavery. We definitely have a disadvantage. But I also feel like there's only so many excuses you can make to when we have to, like, you can't forever just be crying. Like, sometimes what I love about our ethnic group is that we're so resilient. The best slap in the face would be to make it up to that point one day and just do so great, even despite being held back for so long. That's why I will, get the reparations out the way so we can stop having that cry, I guess. Give the reparations out. Whatever black people decide to do with that, let them do with it. Because some people, their argument is, oh, black people don't have financial literacy, so they'll run through that. If they run through it, they run through it. Whatever. They can't make excuses anymore. They got the money. But a lot of us won't be running through it. A lot of us will make smart decisions and make changes. So, like I said, I understand racism, slavery, all that for black Americans. I only sympathize with our ethnic group because we're the ones who actually dealt with it. Our ancestors are the ones who actually dealt with it. They didn't have the advantage to go move somewhere else. So I'm talking about our ethnic group. They're the ones who usually make those complaints. But a lot of other people make those complaints. I'm like, why are you complaining? Because racism didn't affect you in the U.S., but I digress. Well, I mean, it might have, but not to the extent it affected us. But I don't want to get into diaspora wars. But, yeah. I think we could get our reparations. And,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
if we could get them, that would be nice.
We're talking about Nicki Minaj's nail.
I know. I'm just talking about this because...
No.
I'm saying a lot of black people get mad when black people like us
Oh my
criticize
God.
each other about, like, because somebody had made that statement earlier. There was, like, on Twitter, they said something about, like, oh, because they were kind of tired of it too, and, like, and them making excuses. But then here comes everybody in the comments like, you're dumb. These are valid reasons why we're behind. I'm like, yes, they are valid reasons. They are, but a lot of people definitely don't do the things they're supposed to be doing to try to. Because what if we never get reparations? You just gonna cry forever?
Mm-hmm.
They are. Some of them are. I'm not. I want my reparations, but I'm gonna keep doing whatever I can to make a well life for myself and our kids.
So shout out to whoever brought Nicki Minaj's nail.
Yeah. Hopefully they do. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it. We might see it in the museum one day and we come back to this podcast and be like, oh, look what we said when we was 25, and now we're 80. And we see Nicki's nail in the museum that we talked about. We lit.
What else we got?
One more topic.
My phone's gonna die too.
Oh, Jesus. Is it plugged in?
No.
You want me to plug it in real quick?
No.
What percentage is it on?
I don't know.
Well, you didn't get the top up yet, so that's good.
As far as we know.
The last topic I have is I wrote ED and Royal Honey. This is something I really want to talk about because we saw a whole bunch. So ED, for anybody who don't know, because ED can mean eating disorder. I'm talking about erectile dysfunction. Something that this man here can't relate on because he works out, he eats right, and he's not an addict like some of you roaches out here.
You started that terrible.
What did I do?
That was a terrible intro into the topic.
What? I gotta brag on you, babe.
No, you should probably explain it first.
Demon. Anyway, yeah, I'll explain it. Is what it is. Erectile dysfunction. You have dysfunction erecting. Right? Is that the term? You erect. So obviously it's a sad and sensitive topic for a lot of men, but usually the men that are sensitive about it have some type of underlying problem, or they're older. Usually that's usually people who suffer. They might have some type of genetic issue, or they're just aged. But a lot of these men out here that are dealing with erectile dysfunction are young. I'm talking early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, 30s. You shouldn't be experiencing that at that age unless you have some type of underlying issue. And a lot of reasons these men are dealing with these things. Number one, I think drugs. Like, a lot of these rappers love promoting this drug life, lean, this. Like, it's not a flex to be a druggie. I'm sorry, it's not a flex. And clearly, you can't even last. Like, you can't even get your meat up because You're a drug addict. I also think a lot of people have porn addictions, which that's probably a big issue for a lot of men. I think a lot of men, and you can speak to it since you're a man, that stuff messes you up. Like you said, you saw yourself when you were younger. Like you watched a lot of that when you was in your teen years. You watched a lot of porn, but clearly it didn't mess you up. But it can, and you would recognize that, right? Porn addiction. Like
I wouldn't know.
What's the link? Like what is it about porn addiction that you think creates that erectile dysfunction? Like you think your penis just gets mutilated?
I know we talked about this mutilated. I know we talked about this before. Like this is one of those. It's kind of like almost like the depression conversation, because you can make those comments, but at the same time you do have to make them with some sort of
like mental health depression.
Yeah, like
we're actually gonna talk about that next episode, because that 600 Breezy's ex-girlfriend, but I'm leaving that for next week.
The same way I'm talking about you personally, you specifically. The same way you talk about mental health, you also have to take some things with a grain of salt, because not everything, right? It's like the eat healthy thing, but you can eat healthy and still get diabetes kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing even with ED. So like even if you're young, so part of it could be due to stuff like excessive porn or whatever, but there is also some natural reasons why you could be like literally just being nervous.
Yeah, that exactly. Like you could just have sexual anxiety with being with women. You could have, and that's another thing too. You could be a victim of sexual assault, abuse. Yeah, so I definitely have grace for that stuff. I'm talking specifically about the druggies, porn addicts.
You got to say it, because if you
say people.
If you're talking about people with ED, then you have to explain all of it.
No, yeah, I can explain all of it. And yeah, I definitely, that's why, it's a sensitive topic to a lot of men, and I don't want to offend any man who might be listening who deal with those things. Like I definitely don't.
The way you introduced it, that's why you started it crazy.
I'm so sorry. I just have like dark humor, but no, I definitely, do want to start over, but I do have sympathy for men like that, like victims of assault or abuse, people who just shy and nervous, like that sucks, like, or people who, like I said, just have underlying disorders, like this disease out there, there's DNA, it's genetics, lots of times it could just be genetics, it could just be you have weak muscles down there because of deformity. There's a lot of reasons, of course, but this is like the same thing when I say, like, when I shit on people who like are in bad places in life, like when I talk about people living with their parents and people making no money. When I say that, I'm not saying I don't have sympathy for people in a certain situation. When I judge in those situations, I'm judging people, like I said, who went to school with us, who had those same opportunities, were afford those same opportunities. Some people who were more privileged than we were, with parents with more money than us. That's what I'm judging, because you have no excuse. But it would be the same people that would be on Twitter making excuses, crying about inflation. Like, I seen you in school. You wasn't taking stuff seriously. You said accounting was boring. You make jokes about stuff. You was posting up your grades in classes that were much easier, but then you're not doing anything. So when I make those critiques, I'm critiquing a certain group of people. I'm talking about the privileged people who didn't take advantage of their
You don't need to tell me. You need to tell them.
I'm saying that. I'm talking about privileged people who didn't take advantage of their privilege, who clown certain things, who bragged about grades that now, what did that do for you? That's who I'm judging. Judging people who talked down about stuff. But I had people talk stuff about accounting.
You're going too deep.
I'm saying, so that's the same thing with this ED conversation. I'm judging the druggies who think it's cool to be a drug addict. I'm talking about you unhealthy people who that's the link. I'm talking about those people. I'm talking about like the people who literally is sad. Like it's clear the issue. This royal honey thing it's like a new pandemic. Every time I open Twitter, there's making royal honey wings. And for anybody who knows, royal honey is like I would call it like a gas station sex pill, basically, that men are using in their drinks. They're mixing in their drinks. They're putting it on their food, or I think you could just eat it straight. And it's like basically helps you last longer, I guess, be aroused easier and stay up. And of course, there's a small section of those people who are just doing it because the internet's doing it. They just want to see what it does, So not everybody who uses it, I think, got issues. But a lot of people definitely have issues, because even the fact that Key Glock had to get on the internet and say, "Oh, I don't use royal honey because my shit worked." Like, why is that even a flex? Like, in 2022, men are bragging about that, because like there's definitely an issue with drugs, porn addiction, because people in the past might have not dealt with the porn addiction as heavily as men are now because it wasn't as accessible. They had magazines or they would just see women in the street and had to go home and envision them. You know, now you can open up your phone, you got OnlyFans, you can see girls that you've been following for years having sex, being naked. Like, it's a whole different world. And I think there's definitely probably if they did like a graph, there's probably definitely an uptick in ED among young men because of porn addiction and drugs, the rap and hip hop community promoting drugs, the rock and roll. I don't want to just ostracize black people because rock and roll people be talking about them drugs too. And a lot of country artists too. You gotta listen to these lyrics. They be talking about drugs too. And that rock and roll culture, definitely they be doing a lot of drugs. But like that lean, that stuff is not good for your meat, men. And it's kind of not, yeah. Well, you found the stats?
No, just keep talking. You don't have to look at me. Pay attention to me.
No, but yeah. So that's like I'm judging them. I'm judging the people who smoke all day, do lean, and then they eat McDonald's and they eat other whole bunch of unhealthy foods while they're high. Don't work out, never stepped foot in a gym, don't run, don't do nothing. Like, I'm judging them because it's like, it's not hard to be healthy and take care of your body. And like a lot of people, like I even saw something about people talking about vaping and how like this, they think there's gonna be a huge wave of people in our generations, like with cancers and stuff, later on in life. So it's like, it's just sad. It really is sad that young men in 2022 have to brag about the fact that they don't use Royal Honey, that they don't need it. You shouldn't need it. You're 22. You shouldn't need it. Like, you're in your prime of like your sexual life. And men, your prime's a lot longer than women. We have like a shorter window because of fertility and all that. Men can keep going for like forever, right? You produce sperm for your whole life. I only have a certain amount of eggs. So this Royal Honey thing is its own pandemic. The Royal Honey pandemic. That's what we're going to name this clip. The Royal Honey pandemic is the new pandemic. Because it's everywhere. Like, I shouldn't be seeing people making wings with this stuff. And I saw someone said they're going to baste their turkey with it. And someone was like, why do you want to do that around your family? Okay.
You know, people are just bored. Like, it's just one of those things. Like,
yeah.
Even people that don't even really care, they're just gonna do it because obviously it leads to social media clicks. Mm-hmm. People don't even necessarily believe that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think a lot of people actually necessarily need it. I'm not gonna put that accusation out there, but there's definitely, I think, a lot of people who do genuinely need it. And like, girls be like, yeah, I need to put this in my man's drink so he can last. I'm like, your man don't last. Like, am I living in an alternate universe? Because I'm the one who always try to end it because you will go forever if you wanted to. I'm dying. I'm sore. We needed to stop. You will keep. I don't think you ever really initiated us stopping having sex. Like, it's usually really me, whether I'm verbally saying it or non-verbally. Like, I'm usually the one that ends it. You would agree, right? You're just a different type of breed. I think something's actually wrong. Like, you might be your own case study, and like obviously, it helps that you're a very healthy person. You eat very healthy. You work out consistently. Like, you work out literally 6 days a week. 7 if you sometimes, probably plenty of times I've did a whole full week. I'm not sure about your porn consumption. I don't really care about that. I know girls care. I don't care. It's not that deep, but clearly it's not disastrous where it's affecting your ability to, do what you do. And you don't do drugs. You don't even freaking smoke weed. Like, you barely drink. So like, we just live very healthy lifestyles, and like, this is so simple, it seems like. Unless you have, like I said, unless you have some underlying issue. It just seems so simple. Like I said, I think something's wrong with you, though. Because you have, like, a different caliber of, like, lasting.
That guy had a nice rollie.
Stop looking at rollies. Like, you go for hours if you want to. Like, I think our average session, what would you say our average session is? I would say 30 minutes.
I don't take stats.
I mean, sometimes I'd be looking at the clock, like, and I'd be like, I need a break. Especially if you're at work. I'd be looking over at the clock and I'd be like, we started at like 1:15 and it's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock, it's 2 a.m. You're just crazy, babe. You're crazy. I said I wanted shorter sessions because I am fragile. But I'm glad you don't have that issue. Are you glad you don't have that issue? You don't need no royal honey. That's the sad part too. Like even like, why don't even people even have like shouldn't you want to have sex with your girl? Like why do you need royal honey to give you a spark? I mean, I guess people want to be on that demon time, but like you should just have that natural demon time in you. But like I said, I think a lot of these things suppress that in these people. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I want Alcatraz to win. I know that's not his name, but that's what it looks like. But anyway. Yeah. You have any, babe, you need to speak on this topic. You're a man. I want to hear what you had to think from a man, what you had to say from a man's perspective.
Well, one thing that you should probably learn on a podcast, if you stop talking, then maybe the other person will speak. Oh, almost like every episode.
I know.
Let me talk for 30 minutes and then say, what do you think?
Think by now I would learn. Because it should just be a conversation. But you could butt in. It's a conversation.
I shouldn't have to jump in.
But this is how we talk regularly. A podcast is not a performance. It's like we're talking like, we're pretending there's none of this is here. And this is how we talk in real life.
It is here. Okay,
but this is how we talk in real life. You just jut in. Is that the right word? Jut in? Like, what's the word? You know what I mean? Like when you input yourself in? Mm-hmm. I don't think jut is the word. Mm-hmm. Butt in. Is that the right word? Yeah. We're having a conversation. It doesn't need to be me saying a speech. Just cut it whenever you want to cut it and say what you got to say.
That's not how a conversation should go.
A casual conversation
should not require somebody to jump in and cut somebody off.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
So, what do you have to say? Like, what do you think? Because you don't deal with this, but do you agree?
Yeah, you said that like 5 times. Thank you. I got it. Like, there's no bragging here.
It is bragging.
It's not. That's just normal.
It is normal. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In 2022, it don't seem normal. Like, that's what I'm saying. We're in a world where men got to brag about that now. Like...
I don't know. I really don't have a comment. Like, you probably just shouldn't do those things. I think I think people in general should probably just limit the things that they consume overall, because everything that we do is excessive, right? Like if you watch TV, you probably watch it excessively. If you are on your phone, you probably use your phone excessively. If you drink soda, you probably drink it excessively.
Yeah.
If you eat unhealthy, you probably eat unhealthy excessively. So I just think in general, people should just not do people should just limit everything that they do. Cause like, I think people like, even with just the way people just eat just to eat.
Exactly. Like you're not even hungry. Like why are you eating?
You shouldn't be eating something just cause it's there. Like you should legitimately be hungry.
That's why snacking is like literally says like the danger of society. Cause people would be like, ooh, chips. Ooh, candy.
Like, I don't know what to say on this topic, really.
I know. It's not like, I mean, there's really nothing, like not much to say. Like it's.
I think people should just avoid taking any sort of
non-FDA approved.
Just don't be stupid.
Gas station pill. That's another thing too. Like the effects of this royal honey stuff could actually be bad. Like that's something that's like, we should talk about that too.
And for like what you're getting out of it, like it's almost like the equivalent of like drinking alcohol. Like it's kind of stupid because the sacrifice you're making and the impact you're putting on your body for the short term benefit is not worth it.
It's not worth it at all. It's sad.
But if you just like do all those things that, because we already had this conversation, just do all those things, like stretch. Like I'm sure if you saw a guy trying to do a split, you would probably think that he was gay. I don't know how those things correlate, but
nowadays,
if you try to stretch or do like typically feminine workouts, like when you work out your legs, if you do those sorts of things, it increases blood flow. Like if you've never done those things, your veins and capillaries and arteries are probably so tight and clogged up.
And that's why a lot of people, by the time they're like in their 60s, need walkers, canes. Like you shouldn't be 60 needing a cane. I feel like
no, you shouldn't. You
shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't really need those things until you're like. Sometimes you don't need those things at all. My great grandma, she died when she was like 88. Never was in a wheelchair. Never was in a cane. None of that stuff. Like she was very like active. Like she was strong. Like she would give you handshakes and we would be like, ow. Like she was very strong and healthy. Like You realistically shouldn't need those things until maybe you're like just deteriorating as a human, like naturally, like in your 90s, you know? Why are you 60 with a cane, with a limp? Okay, that's me. But it's like, come on, like these things are avoidable. So many things about life are avoidable. Our human bodies are meant to work in a specific way. Your penis is supposed to get hard so you can have sex. Like that's just how our bodies work. And if you do the things like eat right, exercise, and treat your body with love and care, like those things are gonna naturally work the way they're supposed to. Like everything is a system in our bodies. We're a machine. Machines can't run without oil or all the proper maintenance. So you're shocked that you can't get hard after you swallow a whole bunch of Xanax and pills all day? Like, don't be shocked. Why are you surprised? So, but I do think, like you said, a lot of this Royal Honey stuff is trolling. A lot of it is people trying to be funny. So, not all.
After you just made it a whole deep topic.
It's not a deep topic. No, I'm saying, but for the root of it, it's not. Like people probably, sorry, laughing at the tweets, but they laughing knowing that they about to go to the store and buy it because they need it. Because no man's gonna admit on the internet that they can't get hard. So they try to make it seem trendy or cute or funny. Like, oh yeah, I'm using this stuff to enhance it. No, you're not using it to enhance it. You probably need it. It's like just if men are able to admit those things more often.
Don't answer this because I don't want to talk about this topic anymore. But somebody got to explain what exactly it enhances, because it's not like you're gonna grow like 20 inches.
Well, they said something.
I said don't answer.
Oh, no, but I could give you an answer. Like they said something. A product in the Royal Honey is using Viagra, so it just makes so it gets up and makes so it stays up. Lots of things men can't stay up. It'll turn into a worm halfway through. Embarrassing. So they needed to stay up too, because not even strong enough to do it.
Why not just take Viagra then?
Because I think that Viagra has such a stigma to it.
Or Cialis.
Because I think it has such a stigma to it, so people be embarrassed to say, I'm on Viagra. But I also think you might not even be, you might be able to get it approved.
But if this has this in it, how is this not the same thing?
Isn't Viagra prescription?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people don't want, but people don't even go to the doctors. People are not going to go get a prescription. They don't even go to the doctor. Not because they don't want to sit and tell their doctor that I have a hard problem getting hard. So they'll skip that and go and get the gas station pills.
There's a whole website, and I forget what it's called, but you can order pills like that discreetly mailed to your door. I forget what it's called.
But don't you still need a prescription?
I don't know if you need it for Viagra, but you might. But even if you do, they have doctors that work at that place to diagnose you online or something like that. What is it called? And then the funny part is, it was a guy that had ED that made it because he wanted to be able to buy these things discreetly, and he was also young. Is also young.
But a lot of people don't know these things also too.
What's the name of it? I'll try to help y'all out. I don't know the name of it for a reason, but I do know it exists.
At the end of the day, though, I think a lot of I hate, like I said, I hate stereotyping our people, but a lot of our people in certain communities and stuff are not that educated, and so they might not do that research.
I think it's called Roman, actually. I think it is.
Yeah. I actually think I've seen a commercial about it. Damn, this guy is crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna Google it. I don't want those type of cookies. It's gonna start.
You're gonna get ads at work.
I'm gonna get YouTube ads. I'm like,
you're gonna be scrolling on Instagram at work, and people are probably gonna be like, why has got Roman ads pop it up? Don't look it up. But I definitely think that's what it's called. But yeah, like I said, I feel like our people are just, no offense, a lot of them are not, they're not going to take that steps to learn those things. So what's a quick fix? You go to the gas station, that stuff is sitting right there. You're going to go get your roll up anyway, your roll, whatever they call it. You see it, oh, give me one of them Royal Honeys. Like, that's just how our people are, unfortunately, in certain communities. And it's not just a black issue, but I speak on black things because I'm black. So obviously I'm going to talk about black people. But, yeah. Sad. It's sad. If you really need it, use it. But I'm personally not using it over the counter. Like they try to promote the cat. It's like some type of cat pill. It's like a pink cat. Something I think it's called like pink cat. It's like a gas station pill for women to use. Like I'm not using no gas station pill. Like you guys I go to doctors and I get prescriptions for things I need. I'm not buying no gas station pills. Like
I'm not getting prescriptions and I'm not taking any supplements.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. People are so reliant and so quick to be like, I need a quick fix, I need supplements, I need this. Like, no, you don't need.
All right, Advil.
Oh, you called me out. Oh,
Thank you guys
shit.
for watching. This has been the A Couple of Things podcast where we talk
Wait,
about
let
a
me
couple
redeem
of things.
myself. Let me redeem myself.
We are out of here.
I only take them when I really need them. No. You're not gonna end this. I only take them because I really need them sometimes. My headaches are bad sometimes.
It's 1 in the
But
morning, and I'm sure that people don't want to hear us
I'm
talking.
gonna drink water, more water.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
See how you tried to expose me? I don't like that.